Hello folks, it's me, G2. Gotta give you a little promo here. What do you think about that guy? That's Sizzle. He's flying an F-35. Hopefully that text is facing the right way when you get to see it. Okay, so I saw a post, a Facebook post from a friend of mine, Chelsea, with Fidelity Title. And she said that she made a commitment that she was going to scope every day in February. Now, I'd been thinking about that. I actually am one of the people that, like many of you, have probably been, you've downloaded the application, but you haven't done much with it. And I downloaded this application about 9 months ago, 8 or 9 months ago, when the app first came out. I've been rather a voyeur, done a few scopes, but I've decided, like Chelsea, that it's about time to really turn on the steam. This is an incredible opportunity, and I think that that many of us need to really understand what Periscope can do for all of our industries. So this particular scope, by the way, I'm G2 Verado. I'm a real estate agent here in Phoenix, Arizona. See, there's my name tag, if you can see that. I'm a real estate agent here in Phoenix, Arizona. I'm also the Arizona State Director for the Veterans Association of Real Estate Professionals here in Arizona, and I am the Director of Government Affairs for the Phoenix chapter of VA Rep. But today's scope, hey, I actually made some notes. Now, you know, before I get going, one of my challenges through this whole advent of Periscope has been prep work. I will guarantee you that all of the scopers that are successful and prolific don't jump on Periscope without a script, without understanding what it is they're going to talk about. That's been my biggest challenge, finding the time to sit down, isolate enough time among all the other things that I do, and actually make some notes. So today, I actually made some notes. Fancy that. So if you see me looking over here, I'm actually looking at one of my computer monitors. Right now I've got two big lights out there. I'm going to be playing with some lights. I'm going to repurpose this. There's a green screen behind me. You'll see some void up here, right up there. When I repurpose this, I'll be able to map that out. But anyway, I wanted to take just a moment. I'm not going to do a long scope. I wanted to just share a little bit about my thoughts on the best deal isn't always the lowest price. You know, I get these thoughts when I'm driving around or walking around or even sleeping. Do I smoke weed? No, I don't. I don't smoke weed. In my younger days, probably, but not anymore. I'm 60. I just turned 65, and I have a lot more things to do, and I need to keep pretty lucid. So no, not going to be smoking any weed. But thanks for asking. But maybe I look like I should. Maybe in my younger days, I got a picture that I could show you that would certainly make me understand why you would ask that question. But this day in my time in my life, probably not so much. But anyway. So I was in the shower this morning, and just things running through my head, and I thought, the best deal isn't always the lowest price. And I was thinking about that because of some situations that I've come across recently with some other clients looking like my father. Well, cool, your dad has got to be a great guy. I truly accept that as a compliment. But anyway, so I have come across or ran across some transactions that we are working through, and the thing that really confused me was in this particular transaction, one of our clients had closed on a property. There are new laws in place that require lenders to give a borrower time to examine the lender's proposal for a loan. And And these laws went into effect in October of last year, and they're brand new, and they've never existed before, so everybody's kind of feeling their way. Thanks for the hearts, by the way, folks. Everybody's kind of feeling their way through these laws, and the acronym is TRID, TRID. That's the Tilo-RESPA Integrated Disclosure. In another scope, I'll get deeper into this. And by the way, these scopes are really for United States buyers and sellers, real estate agents. Did you send? No, I didn't do that either. But probably one more of those, I'll ask you to go away. So anyway, and so I forgot where that kind of distracted me. And so I'll tell you something else. Making this commitment to actually, I'm not afraid of the camera. I'm more concerned about being able to get my thoughts together and articulate them clearly. But be that as it may, so the laws went into place, and I'll do more scopes about TRID and about CFPB and about some of these other things that we're all. I got to make sure my sounds are all off the air. And some of the laws that are in place now that didn't exist before, and I'll hopefully be able to help buyers and sellers understand what to look forward to in their real estate transactions. But to the point of the best deal not always being the lowest price, I firmly believe that. I'm the kind of person, and I think many people would agree with this. I'll pay a little bit more for a service that I can depend on, for somebody that I trust. This medium really is all about know, like, and trust, and you can't really do that in an email. It's kind of tough to do it in text in a blog, but you can certainly do it face-to-face in real-time messaging like this. So I got to thinking about this transaction, and here's what happened. So the buyer, our client, got a loan estimate from a lender. And the lender didn't follow the rules. The lender created a situation where the buyer, our client, committed to the lender before he ever shopped for other better terms. It could have been interest. It could have been other monies included in the costs of the from the lender. And at the end of the day, the lender just really didn't appear to have our client's best interests at heart. And so we went through the closing, we got the transaction closed, and within 24 hours, I put our client, who's also a friend, in touch with another lender that we truly trust. And that lender was able to do something incredible for our client. The cost of the young man's transaction, his monthly payment went down by nearly $100 a month. $100 a month, because the first lender didn't really take care of our client. And quite, truth be told, this isn't something that the first lender couldn't have done. He certainly could have done this. The rates were identical back then as they are right now, and so in the process, our client was going through the process, and he was just about ready to wrap it up last Friday, and the process is that the new lender has to tell the old lender, ask the old lender, hey, I need a payoff on that loan, because it hadn't even been sold yet to the secondary market. It was still in their hands. I mean, it was literally, he closed on the 28th, and on the 29th, we flipped it to another source. So that process begun, 29th of December, and flipped it, 28th of December, flipped it in on the 29th. So anyway, so the old lender got word from the new lender, hey, we're going to go ahead and redo this loan. And the old lender immediately sends out an email to, actually they called our client and said, hey, listen, we'll match that. I said, really? You'll match it now? And then they made some other very suspicious guarantees. And I asked our client, I said, with the way the transaction went initially and the request that you made of the lender initially, the first lender, and the deafening silence that you received to the questions you answered and the assistance you asked for, do you really think that the second time around, stepping into the same lending pool, lending waters, anything's going to be different? So at the end of the day, our client thought about the magnanimous offer from lender number one, whom he truly didn't owe any allegiance to, and he decided to move forward with the new lender. So hello there, T. Florent. I can't figure it out. What? I'm a real estate agent here in Phoenix, Arizona. So if you are checked in, be sure to let me know where you're watching from. But I wanted to just expand on this idea of, is the best deal always the lowest price? I don't think it is. I think if you're a consumer looking to take advantage of some purchase of something, a product, a commodity, a service, maybe you want to also consider the person that you're going to buy from, their knowledge of the product, their knowledge of the process, their interest in your needs. These are the things that make up value. So you spend a little more maybe for a comfort level that allows you to actually buy the service or product or commodity that you're seeking out. I think those are the more important aspects of, is price the best deal? It really isn't. It really isn't. The best deal is what's good for you in your heart, what's good for you in your soul, what's good for you and your family. That may not be the least expensive product or commodity or item on the table. Money isn't everything. In the real estate world, we have this new world called TRID, Tiller Respe Integrated Disclosure, and there are very few. Hello, sir. There are very, very, very few real estate agents yet that have their head wrapped around what this all means. TRID, it's again, Tiller Respe Integrated Disclosure. It is a rule that was created by the Consumer Finance Protection Bureau. Hello again. And within TRID, there are rules and regulations that have to be followed. And a lot of real estate agents don't understand them. Many lenders do. But I think that at the end of the day, once the real estate industry, the lending industry, take some time to really track what all of these requirements are, it'll really smooth out. Right now it's a little rocky, a little bumpy. But here's an example of, I think Russians are great. A couple of my very good friends are Russians. They're women. I'm married, but they're very, very great people. So I want to explain to you something about why I was concerned about this other lender who tried to jump back in the fray. So when our client was given a particular disclosure, the disclosure is meant to simply say, you, Mr. Buyer, have a right to have an appraisal that is done on the property, have that document returned to you promptly as soon as the item is completed. Well, the law also allows you, the consumer, to waive your right. You can say, well, I don't really need to have it immediately, and I don't really care if I get it within 3 days before we close on the escrow. The law allows, or the whole system allows you to waive those rights. It is a permission that you are given. However, I'm going to read this. When the first lender gave the first disclosure of this appraisal permission. This is what he wrote. This is the way the waiver is written. The waiver is titled Waiver of Advanced Delivery of Appraisal. That's the title, Waiver of Advanced Delivery of the Appraisal. Now, law says that you're entitled to have it, but the waiver says Waiver of Advanced Delivery of Appraisal. And this is what the waiver was, how it was written. I understand if I do not sign this waiver and return it to the lender, the loan closing may be delayed to accommodate the 3 business day waiting period for the advanced receipt of any appraisal and or valuations as required by federal law. If I don't sign this, I may not close on time. That is not the way the waiver is supposed to be given. The waiver is supposed to be given, you can give up your rights if you want, and if you don't want to, you don't have to. And might it affect the closing timeline? It might. But to threaten somebody with the fact that it probably will be delayed doesn't really, in my estimation, play to a very fair explanation of the waiver. Here's what the Consumer Finance Protection Bureau writes about that particular situation. The CFPB, in their pamphlet for the consumer, the caption is, should you sign away your rights? Well, first of all, should you ever sign away your rights to anything? Probably not. But that's the way it's captioned in the CFPB. And then the CFPB, Consumer Finance Protection Bureau, goes on to say, a lender can ask you to waive your rights to get a copy of the valuation 3 days before the closing. Then it goes on to say, think carefully before you agree to get a copy of your valuation in 3 days in advance of the closing. For example, it could take some time to look over all of the information in the appraisal and for you to decide whether it makes sense to you. Because as a consumer, you can certainly question, how did you come up with these numbers? Why did you use house A rather than house B? You can ask those questions, and you can, on occasion, launch a successful petition for a dispute. It can happen. I've done them. But if you waive your rights to even have that door available to open, that's crazy. That's absolutely insane. Now, if you're a consumer who has already gone through that kind of scenario, and the person, the company that did that initially comes back and says, hey, I hear you want to get a new loan. You want to have your loan redone. We'll go ahead and match what they're doing. Jump back in bed with us. I'm betting you're probably going to raise an eyebrow or two and think a little bit about, does that make sense or not? So again, like I said, is the best deal always the lowest price? I'm going to bet probably not. There are a host of other criteria that should be analyzed when you go through the process. Again, I'm G2 Verado. I'm a real estate agent here in Phoenix, Arizona. I'm with Caldwell Banker. I'm also the Arizona State Director for the Veterans Association of Real Estate Professionals, and I am the Director of Government Affairs for the Phoenix chapter of VA Rep. If you have any questions, please feel free to tweet me at G2Realtor. You can also reach me here on Periscope at G2Realtor. And my easiest email address is at G2Realtor, it is G2Realtor, that's G the number 2 Realtor, at gmail.com. Again, thanks again for watching. Truly appreciate it. I am going to make this commitment. I'm going to do a scope every day in February. Chelsea, if you're watching, I got my eye on you. We're gonna do this together. And also the green screen, like I said, I'll be repurposing this. I'll be putting them up on YouTube with a background, and I may turn the camera landscape a little bit, and I'll show you some of the really cool equipment that we're using here at the Verado Clendera household. Talk to you soon, guys. Have a great one. If you have any questions, always feel free to reach out to us. We're always happy to help folks that have questions about buying or selling real estate, or even this new wacky process called TRID, T-R-I-D, the TILA RESPA Integrated Disclosure. Have a great one. Talk to you soon. Bye.